What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? NZD here with a third stimulus check update. And what's going on with the third stimulus check in Capitol Hill? And wow, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard by now, the third stimulus check of $1,400, the new relief plan, the new COVID relief plan from President Joe Biden was recently passed in the Senate. So not too long ago, last week in the House of Representatives, actually the beginning of the week in the House of Representatives, the whole plan went through. The $1.9 trillion plan, COVID relief, American relief plan, went through the House of Representatives. And now, after 24 hours of what they call a vote-a-rama, which is like a whole bunch of back and forth trying to get some clarification of the plan of the bill. After about 24 hours of a vote-a-rama, and then they had the bill read off for like 10 hours. The Republican Senate was the only one who requested for the bill to get read, and got read for like 10 hours. And him and another senator was like the only one there, back and forth, and they wasn't even paying that much attention. And let's continue though. So after 10 hours of reading off the whole bill, then they go back and forth on some things. But after 24 hours of the vote-a-rama, negotiations and all type of things, the bill was finally passed with a vote of 50 yay to 49 nay. Now the one that was missing, he had an unfortunate death in his family, so the Republican senator had to go home, so he was unable to vote. So that one passed through without Vice President Harris have to come in to do the tiebreaker, because it was 50 yay and 49 nay. So some of the things though was there's some changes within this bill, within the plan, from when it got passed in the House of Representatives, because you know the House of Representatives basically structured this 500 plus plan and bill, negotiating, going through different committees and getting the right wording and the right documents. And they had it voted off, mostly Democrats voted off on it in the House of Representatives, and it passed through, and now it made its way through the Senate. But now when it's at the Senate, some languages and things would change. So even though it passed, some things would change. So according to the Democrats, it was kind of challenging in order to get it passed through. So in order for it to go through, they had to go through some of these changes and some of these negotiations, especially negotiating with Democrat Senator Manchin. Senator Manchin had a lot of things with saying that he really even didn't want the $1,400 stimulus check, and he also didn't want the minimum wage of $15 per hour. In addition, he didn't want the unemployment boost to be boosted up to $400 instead of $300. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Before I continue this video, make sure you hit that like button so YouTube and the algorithm can know that this video is value to you and to others. Make sure you hit that like button and share with others. So let's continue now. So what's some of the changes that we talked about? Well, they had to negotiate with Senator Manchin, so the unemployment boost went back to $300 instead of the $400 that got passed in the House of Representatives. It's going to go back to the $300, and that would be $300 weekly unemployment boost on top of what the state is going to give out for unemployment. Also, the $1,400 stimulus check will have an income limit of $75,000 per individual, and if you're a couple, $150. So if you're making $80,000 as an individual, you're not going to get any phase-out portion of this $1,400 stimulus check. And if you're a couple making $155,000, $160,000, you won't be qualified for the $1,400 stimulus check. No phase out, no portion of it, nothing like that. And that was part of something that they had to negotiate in order to get this bill through, because they were saying they don't want people, making six figures and making $100,000 being able to be qualified for this $1,400 when they really don't need it. So it's more targeted towards certain numbers, towards certain people who really need it. And there's a lot of people out there that definitely will need this $1,400. People who are unemployed, people who have bills to take care of, utility bills, rent, mortgage, even medical bills. So as we continue though, they had to do some of those changes like we talked about in order to get this bill through. So the minimum wage is also out of there, so no $15 minimum wage, and that was also discussed earlier in the week once this went through the House of Representatives, and it got voted at the House of Representatives, and it made it through the Senate. The Senate parliamentarian at the same time was taking a look at the bill, and she was saying that the $15 minimum wage does not fit with the criteria of the structure of the bill. I guess because it's a budget reconciliation bill or something like that. it doesn't quite fit. Like $15 doesn't quite fit into the terms of this budget. So that's a way they was able to get this COVID American Relief Plan through the Senate. They definitely had to make some changes, some negotiation, come down with some numbers. And it's not a lot of changes, actually. Just some things that most of the Democrats did want to get through, such as like the $15 minimum wage, which they said they will bring back to the table later on down as a separate bill. But they really want to get this bill through as fast as possible before, I think, the March 14th deadline. Because, well, not exactly a deadline, but it's actually a deadline because that's when the unemployment boost, the federal unemployment boost and the federal unemployment extension, the whole unemployment extension will run out on March 14th, and that's come from the previous stimulus bills that we had, the previous stimulus package, especially like the one back in December, where it's more like an emergency thing. So those also will be extended. So now let's talk about what's going to be included in this bill that they got passed. Well, we of course know that it will be $1,400 stimulus check per person. And so that'd be $2,800 per couple, and also $1,400 per dependent. Whether it's child dependent or adult dependent, you will get $1,400 per dependent. $300 weekly unemployment boost, and that will be extended up until the beginning of September, including the PUA and PUC. So people who are like unemployed because of so people who are gig workers or independent contractors who are unemployed, they can also go ahead and use this this extension as well with the PUA and the PUC. Just go ahead and put in your information with your state. So child tax credit increase was also included in this bill. Children under the age of 6 will be eligible for $3,600, and children ages 6 to 17 will be eligible for $3,000. So that's a boost up from the regular $2,000 per child tax credit, no matter the age of anything. So that's a boost of $1,600 for children under the age of 6, and a boost of $1,000 for children the age of 6 to 17. Also included in this bill would be money for schools, money for colleges, to take care of the central air, the VAC, to take care of the central air, the HVAC, the whole filter unit and everything like that, to make sure the air is cleaner. It's going to be money for testing, for tracing, for tracking, for treating, for vaccines, money for state and local government. We're going to go through some more numbers as we continue in terms of what's the next process now, because the next process now will have to go back to the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives will have to look over these changes. Hopefully they won't have to make any changes, because then that will have to go back to the Senate. So if they agree to all the changes that's in the bill that the Senate voted off on, then they can vote off on that. They can agree with what the Senate had put in place in terms of the changes. And then the bill will be on its way to President Joe Biden bill. And they're trying to get it to him before March 14th, even earlier than that. Before March 14th, they want to have him even signed off on the bill by March 12th. So it gives it about a day or two in the House of Representatives to get negotiated on, to get, I guess they campaign for it to get voted on, whatever like that. And once it get voted off on, and President Joe Biden sign off on it, so they're saying that President Joe Biden sign off on the bill. So they're saying that President Joe Biden sign off on the bill by March 12th. A lot of people will start to see their stimulus check. That would be what? Wow, the third stimulus check. So that would be the third stimulus check. $1,400 starts to go into people's account, starting, they said, around, I believe it'll be March 16th, 17th. So if he signs off on it by March 12th, then I believe they're going to try to have those into people's account. The first round starts to go into people's account by around March 14th, March 15th. So that's almost about a year after this whole pandemic and the whole shutdown and everything started to go down. And so look out for that, ladies and gentlemen. The thing now is it going back to the House of Representatives. We got to track that to see how it works out with that, to see how fast they move on it and get voted off. Also included will be money for business, for more money for small business, more money for EIDL, more money for PPP loan, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to get more into details with those other stuff that's also included to this bill. So once again, it's Anzy D. Hope you got some value out of this. Please like, comment, and share. And once again, that's the third stimulus check. The third stimulus package was passed in the Senate. It already passed in the House of Representatives. Now it's going back to the House of Representatives to get voted off for a second time and on its way to President Biden bill. So once again, it's Andy D. Continue to be safe. Talk to you later. Peace out.